Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial video. My name is William. In this video, I want us to talk about multi-guard authentication, or in other words, authenticating users using several tables. So in this case, we will be using the normal users model, and then we will also have a customers model, and we will be implementing multi-authentication. This is a response to a question that I was asked by one of the members in the audience, and so I'm doing justice by just trying to answer what it is that he wanted to get to know. So of course, to begin, I want us to go ahead and install Laravel Breeze. We will run the command composer require Laravel Breeze. Run the command php artisan breeze :install. Choose livewire functional, and then affirm any other thing that is there. Those two commands have installed livewire, breeze, and vault, including all the dependencies. I would like us to fire up our development server by running the command php artisan serve, and then visit localhost 8000. And this is how our authentication system will look like. I'm only going to work with the login page. I will not do anything on the register, because at the end of everything, this type of authentication will work for one of the user types. So for example, the general user or the customer. So depending with what you want to set for the person who will be logged in automatically by registering themselves, you can be able to make those choices. So let us create another input here, which I want it to be a select value, whereby we will have two options. One of the options will be the user, and in this case we will be working with the web guard, and then we will have customer, which you create another guard which we are going to call customer guard. So basically, let us go ahead and see how we can be able to do that. I want us to go to the file that is called resources, and then views, and then livewire, and inside here we have a directory called pages, and inside pages we have auth, and then inside the auth directory we have login. In our login page is where I want us to include another input value. So immediately before the email address, I want us to have a div, and inside here I want us to have, of course, we can be able to have the input label. We just copy what we have here and paste it, and we can call it user type, and then it is labeled for user type. After that, I would like us to have select, and in our select I want us to have wire model. We are going to set it to user underscore type. I want us to have a class here, and so I would like to have something similar to what we are having on these other inputs. So we are going to have border gray 300, dark border gray 700, and we will have dark background in dark mode gray 500. Maybe we can change it to 900. And then dark text gray 300, and then the focus border, I want it to be indigo 600. Then we can also have the focus ring, and I want it to be indigo 600. Rounded, we can say medium. Shadow small, and then empty 1, and then the width full to span our inputs card. Then inside here we are going to have options. So the first option is option, and inside here I just want us to have choose an option, something of that sort, and then the value I want to set it to an empty string, and then we will have another option, and this one, the value, I want it to be web, and I will show you shortly why we are calling it that, and I'm going to give it to the normal user. Then of course we will have another option which we are going to call customer, and this one is going to have customer. So if we are to go back and refresh, we have something that looks like this. So we can be able to choose the user type and then have it like that. But for this wire model, if you check the other inputs, we are going to wire model form.email. So even this one, I want it to be form. So I want it to be form. I want us to move to another file, which is the file that is found inside app livewire and then forms, because you can see we are typing form. So we are going to this login form, and here you can see we are validating our inputs. We are validating email, password, and the remember token. And I also want us to add one more thing, which is the user type. And the user type is also going to just be a string. So what I'm going to do, I'll just copy this and paste here. Now you call this user underscore type, like that, and set it to an empty string again. Before we continue, I need to go back to our form and also create some validation, because that one we do not have. I have just remembered. So below here, I would just like to copy the display for the validation messages from whatever it is that we have in any other of the values, and I will paste it here. And then now we are getting the errors form.user underscore type, like that. And now if we are to refresh and attempt to log in, of course it will ask us to fill in these other values. So we can fill in maybe an email, j@gmail example.com, and then password, any values. But if I'm to click on login, then we are going to be required to put the user type. And that is good so far. So let us go back to our file. In this case, it's loginform.php. And once we are here, I want us to go ahead and see how we can be able to log in with the user type. And in this case, what we are doing is that for the user type, we are having two of them. One of them is web and the other one is customer. So I would like us to have the guards. And so what I'm going to do is just to check to have the user types that we expect from the customer, or in this case, the client using our application. And then after identifying what it is that we require, we can be able to even also validate the user types such that if anything else comes through, then we can be able to have an issue with it. So I would like to have a variable called guards, and I want to set an array of values. The first one is web, and the other one is customer. What we are doing, we're just passing what it is that is in our select input. So I just want to check if whatever it is that you are passing is either this or this. If it is something else, I would like us to just throw an exception immediately without any consideration. So in this case, you can say if in underscore array, and the array we are checking for the user type, this user underscore type, and we are checking in this array that we have just created here. So I have called it guards. So if a value is found here, I want to check the negative. So what I'm checking is if somebody passes any other key or in any other string apart from web and customer. So that is why I'm checking the negative. So if in this array we do not find this user type, then what I want to do is to throw an exception. And what I'm going to do, I'll just pick this exception that we are having here. We can throw that exception. And if these values are the same, then we can go ahead and now authenticate our user. And what I want us to do is just to change this one a little bit. And so I'm going to do an addition, auth guard, and we are going to pass in our guard. So in this case, whatever it is that I'm going to pass here is this user type, this user underscore type. And basically that will be able to handle our login, and we can be able to check down here if our user is logged in. I would like us to go ahead and try and look at these things that we are calling the guards and all that. Where are we able to find them? So I want us to go to config, and then we will go to auth. And once we are here, we can be able to find that we have the default guard is web, and then the passwords we are getting from the users table. But then, of course, we can be able to add other guards. So in this case, I would like to add a guard that is called customer. So I want to copy everything that we have here and just paste it below and modify. So this one, I'm going to call it customer like that. And the provider is the customers table. So customers table. The other thing I'm going to do is to also have the providers, and still I will just copy what we have here. And below here, I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to change this to customers. And then the driver is Eloquent, and here we are going to say app models customer. So as you can see, we have been able to add one more guard together with a provider. And I think that will do for now. And since we are referring to the customer model, and we will also be required to have the customer table, why don't we go ahead and create these two tables? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open a new terminal, and then we are going to run a command that is going to create for us the model, the customer model, and it will also create for us the customers table. I'm going to run the command php artisan make model customer, and then I'll just have a flag for migration. So when I hit enter, then those two things are going to be created for us. I would like to open up models. Now you can see we have the customer model and we have the user model. We are going to use almost everything that we have in the users model. So I'm going to just copy everything here, and then we will go and paste it in the customers tab, customers model. So I will paste it there. And so what you can see is that we have protected casts, and we have protected hidden, and we have fillable, and every other thing. The only thing is that this model is called customer, like that. Apart from that, we are using authenticable. So you must have it extending authenticable. I decided to do it like that to just be able to run a shortcut and be able to just continue. After doing that, I also want us to go to our migrations. So we will go to database migrations, and now we have an SQL file here which is called customers. And what I want us to do is just to go to the users table and just copy everything that we have inside here. So inside create, beginning from the ID up until the timestamps, and then we can replace anything that is within that range. So I'm going to replace the ID and the timestamps here and just paste like that. So the tables are actually similar tables, and they have information that is similar, only that one of them will be logging in the customers and the other one will be logging in the normal user. So let us go ahead, and now after we have gone ahead and done authentication of the user, because when we check in our livewire, we have forms and login form, and this is where we are authenticating our user, and we are also having the throttle, and we are also checking if the user is not rate limited, and we are not locking them out. So if all these checks pass, then we are supposed to do an action inside our login method. So in this case, where we have pages auth inside the resources directory, login.play, the first file that we had. And so inside here, I want us to just scroll above here, and what I want us to do is to now redirect. So everything up until where we have reached here, where we are regenerating the session is okay. I want us to do a check of the guards. So basically, we can be able to check the guards. And what we are going to do, we are going to say if auth guard is a customer, and then we can say check. So we will actually be performing a check on that guard. And then I also want to do else if, and we can say now authguard is something else. So I can copy this and just say the authguard is now web. As you can see, the guards that we had in our auth file, there were actually two, the customer and web. The customer one is the one that we did create, and the web one is the one that was there by default. So we can be able to redirect the person whose guard is web to the dashboard. So I'll just copy that and paste here. And I still want to paste the same above here because I want us to redirect to somewhere else. So in this case, we can just say customers. So if we have a route that is called customers, we can be able to redirect them there. And basically that is that. So we need to do the creation of the route, and we also need to have the customers, in this case, view. So let us go ahead and do the routing, and then afterwards we can be able to check the view. So basically we can come here. What I want us to do is just to copy whatever it is that we have here, and I scroll downwards and just paste customers, and also here we can say customers, and then customers. Now for the middleware, in this case we are going to use the middleware that is specific to our user. So in this case we will say auth, and then we will say customer. Because we have created a guard that is called customer, we can actually pass it in as a middleware and it will just work fine for us. Lastly, I want us to create a view, and we can say PHP artisan make view, and the name of the view is customers. The view is created inside our views here, and what I want us to do is to open dashboard, and I just above here where we are having the header, I will say user dashboard. Then I want to copy everything here and then paste inside customer.blade, customers.blade. I paste it here, and then I can be able to just say customers dashboard. And once we have done that, I would like us to try and see what happens. But before we try, I need to run the migration such that our customers table is persisted in the database. So you run PHP artisan migrate, and of course the customers table is now created. So I want us to try and see if it is possible for us to be able to log in a user. We have an issue, and I would like to just check. Yes, we are having an issue. Yes, I think here there is an issue. So let us go ahead and sort it out. So we will go to our login.blade. And inside here, I think I was a little bit too ambitious. I didn't finish. So we're having web, and then we are supposed to check like that. And once we have it like that, I believe everything is fine. So I would want to attempt and refresh again. Now our page is displaying perfectly. I would like to create two users. So the first user will just use the normal register, and this will be a web user. So I want us to go back and go to register, and this first user, I want the name to be William, and the email william@example.com, and then the password, just used password as my password. So you might find some warnings, and we are logged in into the dashboard. It seems I didn't save something. So you go to the dashboard.blade and save what we have there, because it's supposed to call it user dashboard. Yes, user dashboard like that. I will log this user out. I want us to create another user using PHP Tinker. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run PHP artisan Tinker, and then we are going to have a customer, and will be new app models customer, and then we can have the customer name, and this we are going to just call him James. Then we have customer email. In this case, we are going to call him james@example.com. And then we are going to have a password. So customer password is going to be by crypt. And in this case, inside here, what I want to have is just a string called password. And then we can say customer save. And we have been able to create another user that is called James. Now I want us to attempt to log in both the users because we did just register, but we have not been able to use the login method, which in this case is the one that we have modified. I want us to begin first of all with William. So we will say william@example.com and the password, and then log this user in. And since we created him as a user, again, we are logged in to the user dashboard. I want us to log out and attempt to log in the same user as a customer. So I will select customer as the user type and go william@example.com and then the password, and then attempt to log in. And you can see the credentials don't match the records because the table in which we are looking into is a different table. Let us attempt and refresh and try and log in James. So James is a customer. The email is james@example.com, and then the password is just password. Attempt to log him in. Now you can see the James is being logged into the customer's dashboard. Of course, you need to also be able to use policies and gets to be able to differentiate whatever it is that the users can be able to do, the two different users that you're having, just to protect your application on top of whatever it is that you're doing here. I want us to log him out and try and log him in as a normal user. So again, when we click login and pick user and then come here and type james@example.com and then the password and then attempt to log in, again, we have an issue. So basically, this is how you can be able to achieve multi-table authentication, or in other words, we can call it multi-guard authentication. However, this method has limitations which would require improvements. For example, when you go to email resetting, then the table that is customers must have its own customized way in which you can be able to do the password resetting. And this one I've not been able to include in this video. But for the person who asked me how you can be able to implement this, I think you have an idea. And also you can try and see how you can be able to work around the issue of email resetting and the password resetting and all that, and see that you can be able to have an application that is workable. Also, to throw in a piece of advice, to me, it's better to have a single user table and then authenticate the different roles, as I did illustrate in one of the previous videos that I did. But if still this is what you want to do, it's okay. You can be able to work it out and do it like that and then see how your results will be. This is the end of the tutorial video. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed and you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you have a comment, you can shoot in the comment section below. And if you also think that the way I have implemented it can be improved, you can also share in the comment section. Thank you very much.